What's up guys, my name's Liam, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the AMICIS and Solo Leveling Limited Edition 65 HE Gaming Keyboard. This does have a little bit of a quieter sound to it, a premium build, and the performance on it has been pretty good for me. So in this video I'm going to be breaking down how my experience has been using it so far, and hopefully by the end of this video I'll be able to help you decide whether or not this could possibly be the perfect gaming keyboard for you. So let's check it out. And before we get started today, I do want to let you know that this was sent out to me by Addis Inc. However, everything you'll be hearing in this video today is going to be my own words and my own opinions. Included inside the box, it does come with an extra switch, USB-C to USB Type-A cable, it's a little bit on the firmer end, switch and keycap puller, and then some documentation. So here we got the keyboard itself, and I do think that the artwork that's done here on the keycaps does look really good, especially if you are a Solo Leveling fan. And there's not really anything too out of the ordinary for this keyboard. It does have just a really solid build overall to it. The edges on it feel nice and soft. It is using a full aluminum case. You do have the USB-C connectivity over here on the left-hand side, which I do prefer. Nice aesthetic over here on the bottom. It does have like this glass piece. Like I mentioned, this is all aluminum. However, the top piece and the bottom piece, excuse me, 4 rubberized feet in each one of the corners. The weight on this feels pretty good. It's been staying nice and stable on my desk. To open this up and get inside of it, really easy to do. So I have these 4 screws in the bottom and 4 screws in the top that you need to remove to open it up. But everything else, as far as the front height on this goes and the angle that it sits at, everything about it does feel pretty solid to use. So dropping it on my scale, looks like we got it sitting at about 1,188 grams. Here's a look of the keycaps that do come included. The print quality on these is fantastic, and they do have a nice feeling to them. The finishing on it does feel smooth, but it still has been pretty grippy for me to use as I've been gaming on it. The switches they're using inside of here are co-developed by LumenKey and Gateron. I've always been a big fan of Gateron switches. These do, however, feel a little bit different and unique compared to some recent switches that I've used. I feel like the actuation force on these is just a little bit heavier. Not that that's a bad thing or anything like that, but it does give you just overall a softer type of a typing experience where it doesn't feel too clacky or anything like that. So the switches, they're still smooth no matter where you actuate them. There is just a very minor amount of stem wobble as you're resting your hands on here and pressing down on it, but the switches have felt solid all around. Here's a close-up shot of the PCB. It does have a north-facing LED, and as you can see here, this is hot swappable for other types of Gateron switches if you did wish to swap these out. And taking a quick look of the stabilizers over here, these have felt really good. They do have a generous amount of pre-lubing on them as well. So as I showed you earlier, this case is really easy to take apart and open up. That's why I just kind of removed just the bottom portion of these keycaps and lift them on. You don't have to remove any of these keycaps if you don't wish to do so to open this up, as all you need to do is undo the screws on the back. Once you do that, you can just simply remove the top solid aluminum piece. And once the top is off, you can clearly see this is a gasket mounted system using these little silicone pieces over here on the top, bottom, and on this side. This is using an FR4 switch plate, and once you lift this up, actually really easy to take apart. This does have a lot of silicone dampening in it. As you can see, the gasket mounted system is attached to the silicone gasket that does sit in between the switch plate, and the PCB. Here's a close-up shot over here on what that PCB does look like. And then once that is removed, you have the bottom of the all aluminum case here and another piece of silicone backing down here in the bottom. So let's go ahead and we'll drop a really quick sound test. Here's a quick look of the overview of this web-based driver. Starting up here in the top right-hand corner, when I first opened this up, it was in Japanese. If you click on this icon, it's where it will allow you to change this to English. You also have this light tab here that will allow you to change the background to either a light or a dark setting. But up in the top left-hand corner is where you can make the adjustments for the keyboard under the performance section right here. For these switches, you can go as low as 0.1 millimeters on the actuation. And you also have these keys over here to the right that have made setting up this keyboard a breeze. You can just individually select keys, do a select all, do this deselect option. Over here in the middle, you do have these additional functions down here, and then coming over here to the right side is where you do have your rapid trigger functions. There's a couple different settings for the rapid trigger functionality. You can go as low as a 0.01 millimeter actuation. If you click on this tab right here, it does allow you to go as low as a 0.01 0.005mm actuation, and as you can see, you can individually adjust both the control or the press, and the release. On the next tab, you do have your advanced features settings. You're going to have things like Rappy, Snappy, SOCD, DKS, and these are all the other functions here. Setting this up was really easy. I'll show you a quick example of how I set up the SOCD on both my A and my D keys. On the next tab is where you can remap any types of keys for the function settings or just the standard keys in general. After that, you do have the RGB effects. Pretty standard types of things here where you can adjust different types of presets, change the color, the dimness, and the speed at which the presets are operating at. Then next up, you do have a macro editor. And then finally is where you do have the settings tab. Here's a quick look of the settings I've been using. You can adjust the polling rate on this if you did need to do so. You can also update the firmware from this part right here. This keyboard also does have an auto calibration function as well, which I really do appreciate. Calibrating keyboards can be a bit of a headache, and so far everything about the performance on this has been working out great for me. I have not had any major outliers that I've noticed while using it. All right guys, so that about wraps things up on this solo leveling keyboard. The performance of this in game has been working out really well for me, and the sound signature, even though it is subjective, I myself kind of prefer the softer typing experience you get on this with the more muted sound profile. A couple things, however, that I do want to bring to your attention with this keyboard. As I showed you, the gasket mounted system is silicone with the centerpiece being silicone in there. So that's just overall going to make this keyboard a little bit more quiet. If this is something you wanted to mod yourself, doesn't look like there's really a way you'll be able to switch out the silicone gasket in between the PCB and the switch plate itself. So if you are somebody who does prefer a little bit of a different sound signature with your keyboard, is going to be more challenging to do so on this. Another thing I do want to say is, like I said, the switches on this, even though I do like the feeling of them, they do feel just a little bit on the heavier end of the spectrum. There are lighter types of switches out there that do feel just a little bit more responsive, and also some that also have some tighter tolerances as well, though I didn't find myself having any issues on this keyboard while I was gaming on it or anything like that. That is just something to keep in mind based on whatever your preferences might be. But I would say that all around, if you are a solo leveling fan, you like just the overall aesthetic of this keyboard. Again, for me, this has been working out really great. As far as the performance go, I feel like the software, they've done a good enough job on it where it has plenty of features in there where you can get it set up just about any way that you wanted to do so. As far as the sensitivity and performance on this, like I mentioned earlier, everything has been feeling fantastic. I feel like this board can get sensitive enough. And as far as the auto calibration function on this keyboard does go, so far everything's been working out good for me. I haven't noticed any types of outliers. I feel like everything about this is a pretty solid option. This is, however, on the pricier end of the spectrum, and like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this does have a limited time run on it. I believe it's going to be something around 11 days or something like that left after this review does drop. So I will leave a link down in the description below if you are interested in picking this up. But I have enjoyed my time while using this. So if you guys do have any additional questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.